Welcome back to the Origin series. We just saw a nice 2-0 victory there for Cut East. Well, no, not Cut Esports, actually. I was going to say the other thing around. Sunlight team. They got themselves a spot in the grand final. But what I was going to say was Cut Esports are not out of the tournament yet. They get to go down to the lower bracket. They will have another attempt to climb back. What can I say about that game? Other than it was a bit of a fiesta at times. But one thing was quite a constant. Apollo seemed to be a bit of the man of the hour, if you would.
Pretty insane. He was just consistently performing really well, despite actually him getting invaded really early on by the Lee Sin, by Boss, which was very interesting. He actually did fall behind pretty severely. He got back into that game really well and playing more of a... I thought he was going to play more of a utility kind of position to set up his team, get those stuns, and put them in good positions for fights. But he just started carrying so heavily. He picked up a great 5-1 point take in a 1v2. The double Baron steal, by the way, I mean, very clearly, that is the decisive moments of that game, the double Baron steal. He literally just put his team in the position to win, and then the team played really well around him. So it's just great execution once again by not only Apollo, but the entire team that was there to follow him when needed.
Yeah, and I want to highlight something that Apollo did earlier on in the fight, Max. I think you're going to pull up a replay for us and have a little bit of a scribble, aren't you? So this was a fight actually near the Baron pit. There was actually a bit of a 2v1 for Apollo. So let's pull up the drawing board and see if we can get that clip up for you any second. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, right, so we're going to go back.
Take us away, Max, because I feel like this might be your first time, so let's have a little bit of a fiddle. Let's see if we get this right.
Okay, so typically the reason why I don't do these is because I'm really bad at drawing, but I'll give it my best shot, guys. Please do believe in me. So we're back at the 8-minute, 30-second mark of this second game of the series. Currently, it was pretty close between these two teams. There was a chance for Cut to make this game happen, but this is the fight where you already lost yourself Mads. Mads was taken off the board, so he just got completely crossed out of this game. And they knew they had the man advantage, and I think that because of that, both Timo's and also Joe felt very confident in pushing this fight a little bit further. As you might speculate of what happened after that fight, it didn't quite go their way. So we're going to go for the push here. And right off the bat, you can see how strong that counteract coming out from Apollo actually was. He timed it perfectly to make sure that while Joe popped the ball, he was actually going to be negating 100% of the damage of that ability, thanks to him timing that so well. And also got some damage output on both Timo and Joe, because he also angled it extremely well. So instantly, because of that, you're going to continue the fight to see how it went. I'm going to clear it out to make it a little bit better for you guys. Puts the focus strong to Timo, as he knows that he is a very squishy target as a support, gets rid of him instantly. And instantly, Apollo turns his focus on the Ahri once more, which I'm very surprised by, because they had vision in this bush, and I thought he would knew that this would be a situation where he could very easily get collapsed upon. Still gave it a shot, and I think his cooldowns were maybe trying to tempt him to go any further. But you should know one thing is when you're dealing with Pantheon, his ability cooldowns are extremely short, and you get a little bit too close, he's going to jump on you instantly, and your reaction time on an Ahri might be a little bit too slow. So yeah, that's just one of the strong plays Apollo was able to perform this game, and I would love to see him do something very similar heading into the grand finals, because they're already in the grand finals right off the bat in Group C, so we already got our first grand finalist here in the Origin series.
So yeah, that's one of 3, as we know, because we've got 3 groups coming along. Apollo wasn't just a bit of a skirmish warrior, though, was he, Kiernan? Because he also happened to get 2 Baron steals in one game, which is a bit of an achievement. We want to take a look at that second Baron steal around about the 15-minute mark. So see, we can also spot the replay, spot the smite that may come in here as we pull up another drawing board just for you to go ahead and have a little bit of a scribble for us.
Yeah, let's take a look. The first one we kind of talked about on the cast, it was the second part of his ultimate. But first of all, this felt like even though you take out the Twisted Fate, it still felt like a relatively risky Baron to go for. Even when you pick off one member, 4v5s in the Baron pit can very, very, very quickly go south in Wild Rift. The Baron does do quite a lot of damage. You don't exactly have, well, you do have your frontliner, but apart from that, there's still a lot of ways to get to the backline and threaten the Jinx. Now remember, #1 target is right here. This is your #1 target. This is the only person that you care about in this fight. So let's take a look and see how it goes. He gets into the pit much earlier. 2,000 HP is when he's getting into the pit, right? So way, way earlier than he did last time. So he's going to have a little bit of time before he can think about smiting it. He has got the smite available, just so you can see. He didn't smite last time. He stole it with the Pantheon ultimate. Baron goes down, and he smites. You can see the smite went on cooldown. Just a really classic smite steal coming out from Apollo here. Now, let's take a look at what the rest of the team fight. We have, I think, Jinx is... Where is Jinx? Where the hell has Jinx gone? I think she might be over here. She kind of put herself in the middle of the pit, it looks like. So again, boxed herself in with very little escape without flash, and we can see that Cut does not have flash available right now. So yeah, unfortunately, as you can see, Cut again, 6ix9ine made the wrong decision again on the Jinx. didn't kite away, didn't kind of get behind his front line. He unfortunately put himself in the pit with no flash, and that resulted in the ace. Put himself right next to the Pantheon as well. Pantheon immediately able to stun him, get a huge amount of damage down as well. Just, again, 2 times in this game, 6ix9ine put himself in a situation where he was up with his back literally up against the wall. And unfortunately, with no flash, had nowhere to go. Very easy for Sunlight to collapse in and kill the only target that mattered, which was the Jinx.
Definitely some things for them to learn from this series. Like we said, they're going down to the lower brackets, so Cut Esports have another opportunity to come back. We're going to close this game, and we're going to look towards the next one because, oh boys, we got one we're excited for. We got Tribe versus Team Queso coming up.
Yep.
So I know that there's been a lot of talk around Tribe in particular. These are one of the teams that are expected to do really well in the monthly final, potentially win it all. And Team Queso, we had a little bit of a light debate. Are they inconsistent? Are they consistent? It doesn't matter. They're at this stage right now. They're in the Group A upper bracket finals against Tribe Gaming. Max, I'm coming to you first for this one.
Yeah, of course, it's a very hype matchup, but the one matchup, especially in this game, that I'm going to be looking forward to see is Leon versus Acolyte. Both extremely known as extremely talented Baron laners, and also they're split push gods. Acolyte, from time to time, will be the one to actually backdoor your entire Nexus if he has the opportunity to do so. So I'm really hyped to see who will be the better Baron laner in this one, because before this tournament, it's only been community-run tournaments. Now they got everything on the table. They need to show what they're made of, so the stakes are at their highest, which I'm expecting big trial sessions from both Acolyte and Leon in this game.
All right, then. Well, I'm going to disappear, let you guys get into it. So Pickman is ready to go. Keenan, I know you're chomping at the bits to get into this one as well.
Absolutely am, Trid. And again, I think Max has highlighted a couple of really important matchups here. The Acolyte versus Leon matchup is insane. I think that the whole top side, like Doom Leon versus Acolyte Andre, really, really strong top side matchup that we want to keep our eyes on. The thoughts about the weak side for Team Queso has always been their bot lane. I think there has been questions raised of how good their bot lane is, and I think Tribe are running with a very solid bot lane right now. And that mid lane matchup does feel relatively even, but I think it is going to be decided a lot about especially Andre and Doom. Both of their influences on the map will be extremely important here. And these are some more standard bans that we're seeing coming through from Tribe and Team Queso. The Garen ban, very, very consistent in the top lane. I know Acolyte is relatively practiced on that, as most top laners are, and Leon is not the kind of guy that likes to play tanks. So you ban it away if you're Tribe. Like, Tribe will not likely ever play Garen for Leon. Kai'Sa, the S tier AD carry in the meta right now, wouldn't be surprised to see something like the Ziggs, maybe something like the Seraphine as well for Team Queso, which they know we have tried run of that Seraphine Stoner bot lane a little bit, and it is going to be the Seraphine.
Yeah, okay, that's a pretty nice pickup to go for. Also, Tribe, they like to play potentially around that champion from time to time. But Tribe here, especially getting yourself rid of the Xayah, I think that this is a matchup where you talked about the Ezreal not getting played a lot. I think this could be one where there's a very clear opportunity to see the Ezreal come through. But first pick, normally if you don't see a ban and you're on the blue side, you like to go for the likes of the Ziggs. So that's going to be what Tribe go towards for their very first pick in this first game of the series. And especially when you're going to have in the hands of Snitch, you know that this is a champion that he likes to play from time to time, and he's pretty comfortable on the champion, I would very clearly say. As Team Queso, their first pick is going to be for the Xayah. Do they want to pair it up with the Zakan? I would maybe recommend no, because if you go Rakan now, Braum, Alistar, they're open, and as Excandal said at the start of the show, you don't want to pick in those kind of champions, so I would pick the support a little bit later on down the line.
I did mention, though, that the Team Queso bot lane is kind of known for Xayah Rakan. Like, it's just that is their pick. You see it, yeah. They play it all the time in solo queue. They played it a lot across a lot of their competitive games. I think in almost all the Origin series games they've played Xayah Rakan. So regardless of the matchup, I think they feel relatively confident. Plus, you know that Leon is not a tank player. So you know that Leon's not going to likely be building big, beefy frontline picks. With the Gragas, is getting locked in, but I think that's very unlikely going to be for Leon, because clearly we see the Fiora locked in. So you know you're not going to be playing into a ridiculous number of tanks. However, Gragas support as an option into Rakan, because you know that the Xayah is picked up, is a good flex option here. You have a great counter engage when Rakan looks for the knockups. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that the Gragas be flexed into bot lane right now for Tribe.
Yeah, I'm just happy that Team Queso didn't try and rush towards the Rakan, but as you said, they're very known for this duo matchup into the Dragon lane, so they're going to go for that pick regardless. Yeah, I mean, okay, Lee Sin on top of it. I like this one. There's some really clear, strong engage potential. You pair up the Rakan, the Galio, and also the Lee Sin. They are looking to get access to your backline, especially is going to be the Ziggs, and whatever ADC you decide to go towards, that should be also the next focus for Team Kesso. Seeing what the ADC is actually going to be. Xing Zhao, and I think you make a video on this champion just recently, I think today. Hey, pretty decent champion that I think is very clearly underrated in the current landscape of the game.
Well, the reason I made the video is because Doom has been spamming it, and I think every game that he's played in Origins Series so far has been on Xing Zhao. I love the Ezreal pickup here. It gives you extra mobility. You're going into the taunt from the Galio, the knockup from the Rakan, the charm, the Lee Sin mobility. Like, just having an AD carry with an extra element of mobility is going to be crucial for your chances of survival in these team fights. And the final pickup is the Darius. And I'm guessing that's for Acolyte in the top lane into the Fiora. It is a tough matchup for Darius. I mean, Fiora is the queen of the top lane, or the queen of the Baron lane right now. And she has very few poor matchups. Darius is not one of them. So this is going to be an interesting sort of dynamic now between Acolyte and Leon. But the thing that you know that when you get a Fiora max, you know that Fiora is going to be pretty much 100% split push for the majority of the game. May join fights if she's feeling confident. So we'll have to see if that's the style of play that Leon is looking for.
Yeah, Darius not all in that split push kind of game. Could do it from time to time if he wants to, but will not recommend it. And a good thing too, especially looking in this matchup, is the mobility of a Fiora with that dash. If you get apprehended by Acolyte, then you can very easily create that distance and be in a very safe territory once again. But here we go, back into the Rift once again for our second series of the day. It's Tri vs Team Kesso. I would have to say, Scoundrel, that this is potentially the hypest series we had so far throughout all of the games yesterday and today. These are two favorite teams entering into this one. Team Kesso representing the Spanish community of Wild Rift in the esports scene, and then you got a set of Tribe, which just I called them an Avenger level threat team yesterday, and I'm going to call them that again because they got so much experience on other games before heading into Wild Rift, and as a team, they are deadly given the right circumstance, but it's a little bit emotional from time to time. Leon and Snitch especially, I'm going to have to call you out, guys. If they lose the game, they tend to lose their cool, so I'm hoping to not see that happen in the Origin series.
Ooh, Leon. Oh, that's a very big early play here.
Yeah, I guess the Ignite 2, the Burrow will be popped away. That's going to be 2 summoners already down the drain. But yeah, he tried Leon and Acolyte, we said it right, really aggressive. They'll go for the fight if they can take it.
Oh yeah, and again, Leon just baiting out the pull from Acolyte. Dives in with the lunge, then looks to use the riposte immediately when a good apprehend opportunity presents itself. And Leon now is going to crash a pretty solid wave early on into the tower here. And that's a good start. It's also allowed clear priority for Doom to go for an invade onto the Krugs. They're actually maybe looking to bait out Acolyte. He's level 2. This is going to be really hard for him.
Maybe he might hit level 3 during that fight. Apprehend does connect to get some extra bit of CT on the slow, but he's going to be actually given the first blow potentially over. Doesn't have the flash. He burnt it earlier, and that's Tribe. Kill number 1 in 1 minute 49 seconds is going to be gone on over to Tribe. I'm not sure if it was Doom or Leon, but they got it regardless, and that's a great start of this game.
That is textbook Leon and Doom, though. This is exactly the play that they make almost every game. Because Leon has so many carry-oriented champions in his pool, Doom does like to invest resources into him early, and you'll often see Doom, as soon as he hits level 3, look to make a play on the top side of the map. He either can make the play, or he can go for the Krug invade and steal away some camps from the enemy jungle. And again, they just caught Acolyte. I mean, it was Leon did the setup before we even got here, right? Leon forced Acolyte down away from the tower very early on. He was only level 2, and they caught him before he head back towards that tower. They're putting pressure on the right side of the map here to put the thumb on Queso. Queso's top laner is a very strong player. If you put him under early, you tilt him a little bit, you put him behind in gold, especially as a Darius, it can feel a little awkward to try and get back into the game. And I'm really loving this pressure. And Doom is back up there again, going for a lane gank.
Is that how you feel, Scoundrel, in your games when you're playing with Doom? He's always on your lane helping you out.
I mean, I don't play Baron lane with Doom very often, so no, he never comes to my lane. He just always permanently goes top.
Wow, that's kind of sad, man. I'll have to press F in the chat for that one and get the violins out. But Leon going for a little bit of an engage on Acolyte. Doom not going to find the opportunity just yet. He's got to clear the bottom side jungle. The red buff and the Krugs are open for himself. You know, the thing is with Leon, which is very scary, is if he gets the lead, he will 1v1 duel or even 1v2 because Leon, he does that. He do be doing that from time to time. He's going to continuously split push, and there's no way for you to stop that unless you send 3, potentially even 4 players to actually take care of him. So he's going to request a lot of resources from Team Queso to make sure those split pushes don't happen. So they need to make sure that Leon does not get that far ahead, because if he does, he's going to be, I would say, the start of the end for Team Queso. Get himself a nice apprehend, actually procs his passive down. He could almost go for the ultimate, barely gets it in time. Actually, oh no, he was already level 5, just hit level 6. But still going to force Leon to dash away from that fight, get himself a true shot barrage from downtown, but will nowhere be close to that kill.
Yeah, a little bit of an awkward a little bit awkward riposte location for Leon here. Apprehendable right under the tower. Doom is in the vicinity, but Ruiz has come to essentially stop Doom from going for the tower dive, or at least make it awkward to do so. That is a little bit of a pain right now, but look at this. I mean, friend, they're just like going straight in on this dragon.
Yeah, Evu getting some significant damage in that fight. Gonna have to move away from that at the very end. There is entrance. There you go. Ruiz will be able to join the fight, and Tribe now not looking too healthy. Was a Rith, especially being full HP, serving as that front line, going to reduce a lot of that AP damage output. Has to be cautious of how he positions at the end, though. There you go. The root is going to be there. The taunt is going to be strong onto Doom. They do lose himself the Rakan. Ebu already going to be there on the back line, trying to get some damage onto Snitch, but Snitch able to just barely eke his way out of range. True shot barrage from a distance will not be able to have that impact he was hoping for. Team Queso cleared themselves that slate clean, but Doom is still there to make sure he can contest that dragon. And also got Friend still around the corner trying to contest it. Will jump on over with the explosive seed. Doom does avoid himself at that taunt last second. And Gisette almost going down. He's solo. The smite is very early. He could get it stolen. And yet the smite is too early. Leon joins the party late, but it doesn't matter. You get the kill, you get the dragon, and now the fight goes back in favor of Tribe at the end.
How on earth did Leon get the steal with what was just a basic attack from Lunge?
He smited too early. It was like down to 30. Ah, that's the F, man. Come on.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Triforce picked up now for Leon as well. This is the thing. You give Leon resources, he will carry the game. He can be a little coin flip at times. He can be a little coin flip at times. We know he can. Let's take a look at this. Okay, I thought this was a suicide play from Doom. Honestly, I really didn't think that this was like a decision that was going to work out well for him. And in isolation, it didn't. He didn't have. He just didn't have smite available. Yeah,
he did. He smited at 400 HP. He smited it way too early, and it went down to 30. And Leon just perfectly timed. I do agree with what you said, especially about Doom maybe going for a little bit of a suicide mission there. Though it worked out at the end because he was just buying time for Leon, and I think they communicated.
Exactly.
So that's the play.
That was the play. I was about to get to it. It was clearly a communication setup between them. Doom, and this is why I think Xin Zhao is actually pretty underrated right now. You can use his second ability to mark an opponent and then immediately dive to them from what is ridiculous range. And that's part of the reason why I think, you know, that in PC, we are seeing Xin Zhao played a lot in the meta right now. And I think Wild Rift does mirror PC a little bit and then kind of catches up slowly. So I'm loving seeing that now. Looks like Leon is a little bit caught out here. I would have actually liked to have seen him dived across the wall in this scenario, but regardless, it looks like he's a little too strong for both these guys to kind of match up. He's going for the 2v2 right now.
He didn't proc the Grand Challenge, and now he's going to be running out, and it could have been a kill actually over to Acolyte, but it's going to be secure by Andrew said, trying to poke it from a distance. Ziggs joins the party. Yeah, that's definitely Leon. It was a close attempt. But the fact he didn't proc the Grand Challenge ultimate, that heal could have been enough to take a 1v2, but a little bit too close at the end.
I think he was looking to proc the Grand Challenge, clearly. Honestly, that was class. That was Leon in a nutshell right there. That play kind of embodies Leon in a nutshell, like always thinks he can outplay, always looks for the angle to kind of go for what was the small percentage play. Gets punished for it though in this scenario. Like he would have been able to get back to tower very easily, and they would have really, nothing else would have happened. Looks like we're going to see an anti-dive come through with the Galio ultimate. The hero's entrance buys a bit of time for this bot lane to survive a little longer. Still waiting. I think the first tower of the game has gone down. Leon again finds another kill here, drops the Rift Herald mid with Doom, and they may be able to open up that tier 1 as he does get taunted up, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the quickness, plus also the Grand Entrance that will not make matters easy for them, though the Herald used pretty early, actually, before the Infernal Drake. I thought because the Infernal Drake was going to be up, they might decide to go that way, but they not only gave himself a play, almost 2 plates in mid, they also gave himself the tower down in bot lane, so they increased that gold once more, but Leon dying, that gives some bounty gold over to Team Queso's side, so if the gold is positioned properly, it could kind of give a little bit of a lead in the next skirmish for Team Queso. But regardless now, Infernal is going to be spawning in 50 seconds. Both teams need to be fully prepared for this fight, because if Tribe take it, they're going to start building a lead that's really hard to come back from.
If Tribe take it, this will be almost like a game-ending play. Let's have a look here. Leon just looking for the 1v1 versus Andre. Has that Grand Challenge. comes back in, stops the second part of the Sonic Wave damage, which is the execute damage coming through, and Leon very happily finds that 1v1. I think they dropped the Rift Herald mid because they assumed that Leon wasn't going to get killed, and they were trying to go for that mid lane tier 1 take with the Fiora. Unfortunately, it didn't play out that way. Got some nice setup, though, for Tribe here on this Infernal, but Leon is kind of pathing over towards the top side of the map. He does not have teleport. He's gone for Proto Belt, which A, is classic Leon, and B, if you don't know, you can actually proc Grand Challenge marks with Proto Belt. Not a lot of people know that about Fiora, but it is another way to try and proc Grand Challenge marks. So it looks like we're going to go into a strict 4v4 with not... I think Leon is just the strongest member. Nice cask, though.
Yeah, going to have to use the ultimate, the Feather Storm, to move away. The Blade Caller will not do anything when he scratched the surface of Tribe. And now, once again, they used a lot of resources away from the side of Team Kesso, instantly put the focus back on the objective, while Leon is just trying to... I mean, Leon clearly doing Leon things, trying to be a pain onto the Baron side lane. And they're trying to push mid. But unfortunately, Team Kesso, a little bit too slow on that one, as that's going to force a response instantly. Mega Inferno Bomb going to be soaked up by Ruiz on that shield. And Leon once again getting a few pokes here, left, right, and center, but they will not push any further. But they got so much damage earlier with the Herald, and Ziggs, there you go. Ziggs doing what Ziggs does best, and that is tearing down your towers in a matter of seconds.
I mean, this is why Ziggs is picked so often in competitive, right? Like, you don't even need the wave sometimes to be able to take that tower. And that tier 1 mid has now opened up the map hugely for Tribe. Like, they are now going to be able to start putting aggressive vision down in blue or red side jungle. They're going to start to be setting up picks more often with Leon. He's going to have much more information to execute on the split push now, because that vision line can be pushed more aggressively into the Team Queso jungle. And especially with Baron on the cards, this is something that clearly Tribe are going to want to try and leverage to their advantage.
Yeah, also got himself a second item now, Manamune, with also the Triforce, so he's going to start to be an even bigger threat coming into the next engage. I want to say one player that we've been overlooking a little bit has been Friend. He's been doing some big damage, especially with those true shot barrages, and the setup for the likes of Leon and then Doom to follow up on those engages has been really strong, but Friend, I think, has been a really good creative opportunities for Tribe very clearly in some of these fights.
Yeah, I think Friend clearly on the Ezreal 201 has had a pretty solid game, but realistically the game has been driven through Doom and Leon for the most part.
Yeah.
Queso have struggled to cope with the power of that top. We even highlighted it before the game. The winning side is going to come from the better top jungle, I think, in this matchup. And right now, the better top jungle, especially the better top. And I really didn't know why this Darius was picked, by the way. It's a really bad matchup into Fiora. There aren't many good matchups into Fiora, to be completely fair to Team Queso. But yeah, it just feels like the better top jungle right now has been Tribe, and especially Leon, strutting his stuff. And I do genuinely believe if Leon put the work and time in, he will be the best player in Wild Rift.
Four-man taunt from Ruiz. He's going straight for the back line. Gets a really good amount of initiation. Going to try and always wait. It's stolen out by Team Kesso once again. Against so many Baron stills today. I'm loving every single second of it. Memorize going to hit either repost, and Leon, he's going so deep in a 1v4 currently. Maybe a little bit overzealous, and that will cause his demise. Makes it a decent trade, but they still got himself the Baron buff. That's a big win over to Team Kesso to weather the storm versus Tribe.
Weather the storm is the perfect way to describe this, because it will purely be stopping Tribe from ending. It was actually a really intelligent play from Ruiz. He essentially jumped into the pit, used his taunt to zone. He bought space for his team to come over the wall, and that allowed... So we're actually going to look at it now. This is the kill from Leon as he goes on to Acolyte, actually uses the Protobelt away, and the True Shot Barrage gets the kill, which is really nice, really lovely placed. Don't know if we've got the Baron fight. Okay, we don't have the Baron fight, but essentially the Ruiz went in. He bought space with his taunt to allow both Andre and I believe Mesmerize to get over the wall, and then all that was needed was the space to allow Lee to get a smite uncontested, and that was a relatively uncontested smite coming out from Andre there. He was able to get it for free essentially.
Yeah, nice explosive cast. I feel like in an episode of Spectrum Cup Man there. Get off my tower. It's now in mid. That's going to be the engage. Dragon's Rage coming on through to make sure we can create that distance once more. But Leon, yeah, he's like, we don't need to fight. Going to go straight for the top side of the map and try and create just once again a little bit more discrepancy versus Team Kesso. He's just trying to be an annoyance in their side, thorn in the side of Team Kesso as for the time being. Dragon about to respawn in 20 seconds. So we're going to see a lot of the players currently on the Rift ready to go for those resets, get some extra items up their sleeve and get prepared for another 5-on-5 that should be happening fairly soon. Oh, there we
go. Ruiz, look at he's basically bought loads of space. The Galio ultimate buys even more space, so it was taunt to push back Tribe. Galio ultimate to again push them out of the pit. And you could see that Doom was nowhere near to smite. It was just really intelligent play from Team Queso to give them the opportunity for the steal there. Obviously, they haven't even converted it into a tower. It was, as you said, a weather the storm pickup for them. But with the next dragon spawning, there may be another opportunity to look for a team fight. You obviously have the Elder going to be spawning after this. I mean, I'm not sure about that engage, honestly.
Yeah, not looking too good. Doom pops the ulti also. They're trying their best to get himself the kills confirmed in the mid lane position. That's going to be the double over to Doom. He will be taken down at the very end, but it doesn't matter though. Got to be careful, friend. A little bit too close from Ebu. He does some severe amount of damage, and he's going to be dashing his way forward there thanks to the Proto Bear. Also, Andrew Zed just completely cornered by foes, and there's no escape on this one because Tribe are clearly taking no prisoners in this game. Kalite going to try and take the fight once again. Grand challenge. He wants to go for the turret dive, and the body slam makes it oh so much easier as Tribe gets the ace, remain as a 3-man, and are tearing down the mid lane towers.
They should, with Leon, be able to pick up an inhibitor tower here, which is a huge win. They now should be able to reset, set up for that first that dragon fight around the Cloud Dragon, and that is a massive win for Tribe off the back of a very scrappy team fight. Honestly, it was a terrible engage by Memorized. I don't know why he went for it in the first place, but he got punished aptly. Yeah. And then just Leon again finding these last-minute rotates. Let's take a look here. Doom, obviously on the front line, very squishy Xin Zhao build, so he's not exactly tanking. And Andre just able to really pop off on Lee Sin. You can see why Lee Sin is such a higher priority pick. He still has a lot of execute potential, but this is what we're seeing Leon do over and over again. He's rotating once the fight is kind of already underway. He comes in relatively unnoticed and just starts picking people off from the sidelines.
And this is what we've clearly seen from Tribe in the past few months in community-run tournaments, if they be C-tier or B-tier events. They are a team that very clearly, when they win a fight or they get themselves a skirmish that goes their way in any shape or form, they'll be turning it into objectives. Like that one fight that they won there, they got themselves an ace. That's 2 towers in mid, one of those being inhib and 1 tower in bot. The amount of gold influx they get every fight that they win is absolutely mental. Now standing strong at just about a 10,000 gold lead, but the Drake is going to be focused and it will not be stolen away as Tribe will smite it just in time thanks to Doom. He does get the ulti, but Leon once again doing Leon things, going straight for the backline. The Mega Inferno Bomb does make things so much easier for them. They do not show their face versus Tribe anymore as Team Queso moving away in fear as a 4-man crew.
My goodness. I think Tribe just completely running this game over from the top side of the map. I think obviously Friends had a good game. I think Doom has clearly had a good game. Snitch hasn't really had to do anything. This game hasn't really been about the bottom side of the map, though. This game has been about Leon. Look at the amount of resources that they are expending to just try and kill him, and he's still getting away time and time again. A free Baron through split push pressure. Team Queso knew they couldn't contest it because Acolyte had already died, and Leon is making their life a living hell. He is showing you how to split push effectively in Wild Rift. It's not about winning the game. It's not about even taking towers half the time. It's about creating enough pressure, finding the 1v1s, and making it so difficult for the enemy team to actually respond to neutral objectives on the map or really anything on the map.
Yeah, and now that Baron buff for Leon is going to make it so much easier. Oh, one basic tackle to even. He puts him down to 50% HP. You must be kidding. That's too good. And just said a little bit too far in this fight, and instantly going to be taken down by Friend because he can create that distance, that gap between his foes very easily with that Arcane Shift. And I think they're looking to find closure very soon here. If they get one more inhib tower after Sex Scandal, this is clearly looking like a GG.
Yeah, I think this has been GG for a while. I think because you can't contain Leon in the side lane, like as you can see, committing 4 people to him is still not working out. I think realistically, it's time until the game's over at this point for Team Queso. And I think you don't exactly have the scaling in your favor either. In fact, the scaling is heavily in favor of Tribe. So the longer this game goes, regardless of how these team fights and how these skirmishes are going, the better it is for Tribe overall. And they should now be able to take the win.
Yeah, this is maybe one of the games where it's better to go for the FF button, as that's going to be game absolutely shredding the competition in their first series versus Team Queso on stream itself. And we expected Tribe to be really strong. They were clearly one of the favorites coming into the Origin series, and they take it by a very clear landslide. They got themselves the early lead thanks to Leon getting that kill into the top side, assisted by Doom. Leon must know how it feels to get carried just like Excounder and Ranked a little bit there, so I'm going to come after you a few times there. I feel bad, man. But yeah,
go to break, mate. Just get to break.
Go to break. We'll go to break. Okay, we'll keep roasting Excounder on the backside, so we'll see you guys back on the desk with Trid to break this one down.
Welcome back to the Origin series. That was pretty much what we expected to see from Tribe Gaming in that past series. They're definitely coming into this upper bracket final as the favorite. And Team Queso, I think they were trying to get into this, but towards the end, I think it just all fell apart, didn't it, Max?
They gave it their best shot, and even though we talked about it all about the start, the thing is with Team Queso, I think that they have some really big highs and some really low lows, and I think this is one of the games where they just had already the draft of Darius, and Scandal touched upon it. I think they clearly didn't work out. We knew the game plan that Leon and especially the entire team of Tribe were going to go towards. They gave it their best shot, but unfortunately, the Darius did not work out at all. Allowed to get some very early advantage and lead in favor of Leon, and off the back of that, they just started building this huge empire in this game that was just almost impossible for Team Queso to come back from. They had a few opportunities left, right, and center to kind of, as we said, weather the storm, but it was just clearly not going to be enough to really stop that pressurous game coming out from Tribe.
Yeah, the early game was really important for Tribe, Max. I agree with that one, to be able to set up the advantage. One of the things they were able to set up was they sent Doom into the top lane to try and help out Leon early. Kieran's got a replay for us. He's going to go ahead and take us through that.
Yeah, I got a couple of clips that I'm going to show you here, actually, Trid. The first of which is this. You probably recognize it if you're watching the game. First of all, I want to set context for what you're looking at. Acolyte is level 2 right now. So Acolyte is level 2. And Doom and Leon are level 3. Leon is about to ding level 4 as well. So why has this happened? Well, the matchup is very bad for Darius early on, and Leon was able to punish Darius, force him back to base super early at the 1:30 mark, and you can see Darius heading back to lane. Doom had just gone red into Raptors, into Wolves, and then walked all the way up, just skipped his blue, skipped the River Scuttler straight towards the Krug area. So he's looking for Acolyte coming back into lane. Acolyte has already lost quite a lot to tower. He has a big wave. What's more importantly is just here, you can't see, there is a huge wave crashed into tower. That is gold and experience, and they have another wave coming up, as you can see on the minimap. So he is going to lose a lot if he dies in this situation. And lo and behold, he kind of knew. You could see that he kind of knew from his body language what was going on, which feels even worse. He knew what was up. But this is devastating in this matchup. Not only is it a bad matchup to begin with, but now you've lost a ridiculous amount of experience and gold to the tower, and you've given Leon more of a platform for success.
And, this was an early setup for Tribe Gaming, and it was going really well for them towards the end of this entire series. But then we cut across to the Baron. This was the semblance of hope that Team Queso had, and I'm going to steal your phrase once more. They weathered the storm. Can you take us through this one again, Kieran?
Yes, can take you through very quickly. This was a good play, right? You see the AD carry pushing Leon on the bot side. They had vision, I think, with this ward here on where Lee Sin was. So they knew exactly where Andre was. So it was a relatively good call. But I want to praise Queso, especially Ruiz, for how he played this, right? Ruiz on the Galio jumps in, and immediately, this is great, right? What this does is it forces Tribe out of the pit. All of them have to respect the Galio Torn. Memorized and Andre are going to come in very shortly and get over the wall. And then watch this again. Big circle of exclusion. You can't get in. Doom is already over. I think Doom's here, but he's obviously wanting to get out of the pit because the Galio knock up, and he's about to be jumped on by Andre. So Doom has to get out, and then as you see, he was a little bit too out of range for the smite on Baron, and Andre managed to secure it. So I just want to praise Ruiz for the zoning that he created here. Of course, it didn't help them win the game, and as Max said, it was weathering the storm, but it was a really nice play around Baron to give Andre the opportunity to steal it with the smite.
And Andre's smite steal was just a kind of just slowed down the momentum of Tribe, but it ultimately wasn't going to change the outcome of the game. When we look at the two junglers head to head, and we're going to pull up some stats for you as well to kind of tell the story that's happening here, Doom has definitely been the better of the two when it comes around to the matchup. Gold, assist, like KD level-wise, that's absolutely fine, but it's the gold difference where they really pull ahead, Max.
Yeah, really going to be getting himself a really big lead in that one. And Doom has really been the one to create that early advantage for Leon that we talked about earlier. And then Leon could continuously split push, create points of pressure around the map to force Team Queso further away from those global objectives. And it just made things a lot easier, not only for the likes of Leon, but for the entirety of Tribe. See it mainly by that 7 assists coming his way. He's been continuously present on most of those kills in this game that we're really enjoying. Andrew Zed, unfortunate, don't get me wrong, he has a very strong Lee Sin, but when I think of Andrew Zed, I think especially of Jarvan the Fourth. I think that is by far one of his best champions to play, and I would like to see him go back to his roots back in the community run tournaments that he's played in for the last 3 to 4, potentially even 5-6 months. It's been quite a while now, and I think that would be his key champion I would like to see him back onto, because I think he really shines a lot more on the likes of a Jarvan. His Lee Sin was good, don't get me wrong, but I think Jarvan is definitely what makes him seem a little bit more threatening to the likes of Tribe.
And for Tribe Gaming, they played through the top side of the map absolutely on this one. And you kind of said it a little bit in the game, Kin. You said that, well, Stitch doesn't really have to do anything really in this match. It didn't, like, the bottom side wasn't really a massive factor for Tribe Gaming. Is that out of the ordinary for this team? Do they typically play through the top side, or are we seeing something that's different from the norm?
No, this is very normal. Leon has strengths and weaknesses, okay? Clearly what you're seeing here is one of his major strengths. He's excellent at carry champions like the Camille, like the Fiora. The weaknesses that Leon has is he's not as adaptable as some of the other Baron laners. He's not exactly a great tank player. He doesn't really understand how to frontline properly. However, when he's playing things like the Fiora, it's clear that Doom likes to invest resources in him because he can just do this. Like, Leon solo won the game through side lane pressure. Like, Acolyte was constantly dying in the 1v1 because Leon just is so good at forcing the issue. As Max will know from Leon's previous MOBA days, he is an extremely aggressive player that will take what looks like on paper to be coin flip plays, but they're plays that Leon feels super comfortable that he can mechanically outplay in. And as I said, I do believe if Leon expands his champion pool, learns to play some other styles, I think he will be one of the best European players, if not the best European player that we have in Wild Rift. And just this Fiora game kind of shows you a little element of why we believe that.
This is a great entry point then to jump into the Origin series. You're seeing the start of the rise of Leon to become that best European player. So it's kind of what the tournament is about. Yeah, Tribe had a bit of legacy beforehand that, you know, we're still watching the rise of these players. So I'm going to use that as the official mark of game one. We're going to close that one and move on to game two. Just going to piggyback off of what Kiernan said at the end of that one. Leon on a comfort pick on a champion like Fiora. Max, do you think it's worth potentially throwing some bans in the way of Leon's pool to kind of put him on those uncomfortable tank champions potentially in the top lane? It might be a way Team Queso would get into this one, right?
I would very clearly say if you want to ban away the Fiora, I think by far it is his best champion for Leon, so I would take that one away if possible. He can also play champions like Camille, so you're not going to be able to ban the entire roster of all the Baron laners available because we only got 4 bans right now. But I would say, again, rid of the Fiora is a good way to make sure you don't have to take care of those split pushes that much, because compared to Camille, that can split push pretty well, but Fiora can also 1v2, 1v3 like we saw Leon do, so I would definitely go for a ban this game.
I like the flavor. Let's see if I will get my wish of a Leon target ban as we head into pick and ban.
Thank you very much, Trid. We'll see if that one is going to come to fruition for the second game of the series for Team Queso versus Tribe. As now you know it, Team Queso, they're going to go for the blue side, and Tribe will be on the red side, meaning that first pick will go the way of Team Queso. I'm intrigued to see what they're going to go towards. I mean, Acolyte, we talked about him being an extremely talented Baron laner too. I want to know especially if they're going to try and get a priority pickup for him, knowing he's on the blue side this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see where these bans go. The ban strategy, I think, for Tribe will change. I think they will end up banning Ziggs, and because I know that is a relatively common first pick. We're gonna see a Tribe Garen ban here. I don't know if we've just missed a ban from Team Queso or whether we're waiting to see that come through. I do have a separate list of bans, so I do know what they intended on banning. I believe they have banned the Fiora away from Leon. So I think that first ban on Team Queso, even though it got missed on the graphic, it should be a Fiora, and I think Tribe are going to end up going for, I assume, is going to be the Ziggs. So I think it has to be the Ziggs here, which limits a first pick. But now, if you're a competitive pick or a competitive team, you've seen a lot of teams go for the Camille first picks, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Camille come through as the first pick for Team Queso.
Yeah, I think Acolyte would like to go towards that one if possible. Also, you could go for Gragas. I mean, we saw that one coming on through very often. You want to go for flex champions early on that can play different roles. Camille does exactly that. You want to play it jungle, you want to play it Baron lane. It works just fine in both of those roles, even though I do tend to prefer it a little bit more in the jungle as of recent times. Now, Tribe, they got their 2 next picks. And okay, I wanted to potentially see the likes of a Lee Sin coming on through. It's a very strong jungler also. That's going to be for Tribe. And now Team Queso, I said it, I want to see Androzet potentially in the Jarvan in the 4th. Because the Lee Sin's not up anymore, that might be the champion he decides at the end to go towards.
Don't be baited by Lee Sin jungle, because I think there is a good chance this is Lee Sin Baron lane. The reason being is have you been watching Leon's streams recently? He has played a ridiculous amount of Lee Sin Baron lane. I think this could be their own tribe's pocket pick. Like, you assume it goes to the jungle here if you're Team Queso. I think you assume it goes into the jungle if you're Team Queso. But this is just keeping the options open for tribe. Like, you could very easily, like, Doom has got a great Lee Sin. You could very easily put this in the Baron lane, but I know that Doom has been really hyped on Xin Zhao, and I would not be surprised to see him just continue to default to that. And then you give Leon the Lee Sin on the top side of the map, because it's something that, if you follow PC League of Legends, it has become meta. Like, Lee Sin top lane has become meta, and the Xin Zhao comes through. I'm expecting this to be Leon's Lee Sin Baron lane.
Okay, we got so many predictions to go for on trial. I mean, we'll have to wait and see how it's going to be once we go actually towards the game itself. But yeah, Lee Sin might be actually picked up by Leon, so I'm intrigued to see how they're going to turn it out. That's a big front line. The engaged potential of Tribe is through the roof currently. They're living in CC heaven, as they're going to be able to make those initiations very easy to deal with. Of course, you're still going to have Galio serving as that front line, but the thing is, you also have yourself then this Rakan, and I think he's going to struggle pretty severely into this one. That front line is going to take you down so quickly. They got the Xayah. I like that. I think against the composition set up by Tribe is really good. You got the peeling. You can escape with that Feather Storm, and also you got the Blade Caller to add some extra peeling to your kit to assist your team to move away. And then another champion that can just get rid of CC entirely. That's Olaf to add to the mix. So I like the Olaf and also the Xayah pick together here, and especially Xayah Rakan's very popular, as you know, probably in the current meta of Wild Rift. But last pick up for Tribe, I want to know what they're going to go towards here, and it's going to be then the Corki, which I believe is going to go then in mid lane position. So yeah, I'm liking it. I dig it coming out from both teams, but I do have to say, I do really enjoy the composition of Team Queso, because I think it makes sense, and I think I might go towards their comp a little bit more in this game.
I think the Team Queso comp is pretty standard for Queso. Like, the Xayah Rakan, as we said before, has been essentially their go-to bot lane almost every single game in the Origin series that they've played. So they go for that Xayah Rakan pickup, and that gives them the opportunity to kind of have a strong team fight with the Rakan. And then obviously then coming in later on, you're going to have the Olaf and the Galio to follow up on it. So I think that they've got a very strong team fight comp here, like very good skirmish comp, and the flexibility of the Camille. What Camille offers more so than the Fiora is, yes, she can split push, but she's also a strong team fighter, strong isolator. And you're also running the very tried and tested Camille Galio combo coming out. The Camille Galio combo, if none of you have seen it, is rather dirty. You just throw the Hextech Ultimatum on the target that you want to lock down, and then you just Galio Ultimate on top of the Camille, which means that no one can escape the knockup. You can get immediately taunted following. It's a very difficult combo to play into. But it looks like Clue Flash Engage.
Oh, Flash gone. They're going to go for the full initiation. Doom will be at the tower, and the minions actually take the aggro at the Anasa First Blood very early, going away of Doom. And Doom is always there for those First Bloods, it seemed. Gave it to Leon in game one. This time around, it's going to be for himself. And not going to get the double scuttle control. But yeah, it shows that Doom, no matter what time of the day it is, he's always going to look for those early fights.
Yeah, Doom is, again, a super aggressive jungler. He always looks for these little edges. He'll always really go very aggressive as well. I love this too. He's come in to protect his own Krugs. So he's come to protect his own Krugs on the top side of the map to stop the invade coming new from Andre. Genuinely feel like Doom has had the edge versus Andre in this jungle matchup so far. Just has constantly applied pressure to his lanes. Has given a little bit of a snowball over to Snitch as well. Let's take a look at that once more. I want to see, like, this is a great flash engage from Clue. I love where he body slams as well, because it kind of knocks Ruiz a little bit further away from the tower. You can see that Doom was as confused as anybody why he didn't take tower aggro there. He was like, "What? Wait, why is the tower not hitting me?"
I know, right? Yeah.
But I think it's because he cast the ability when he was outside of tower range. And then, yeah, the nice kick from Leon, though.
Yeah, Dragon's Rage moves him away. Hextech Ultimatum, it's dropping a 1v2 now, but it's not going to be working out at all. It does become a one-on-one trade at the very end. One kill going away, Andres said, but yeah, I mean, giving it a shot, and Doom continuously going to be present in that Baron lane, and Andres just can't really do too much into this one. He's going to go for just a few little pokes left and right, but nothing will come of it, as Snitch is trying to assist here and get that damage. He is level 6, got himself the ultimate, going to try and package his way forward. Well, not package, sorry, he's going to use himself the Valkyrie. He gets the snipe, he's going to take the turret aggro, and also with the Hero's Descent. Snitch, you went too far, homie. The CC runs on down from the heavens, and that's going to be kill number 2 going to Team Queso.
I actually don't mind that 1-for-1 trade, though, overall. Though it looks like something went horribly wrong in the bot lane. Leon here to back it up.
Yibu going to try and move away. He's got himself potentially the Blade Caller to play around, but not in time, as Leon, then you said he's been playing it on stream recently, and it really shows that he's been training that champion, as he's just completely dominating it when he joins the fight.
Yeah, I don't mind the 1-for-1 trade that Snitch put through there, because it's actually put Ruiz's ultimate on cooldown. So you trade 1-for-1 with the jungler, but you actually burn the Galio ultimate, which means you're not going to have the Galio ultimate for the next Dragon team fight if that is a fight that you're intending on taking. I think that will look Yeah, I was going to take a little look back here. That was a 1-for-1 in the top lane. Doom can't quite find the engage onto Andre. Here comes Snitch. Just misses the Phosphorus Bomb. If that Phosphorus Bomb hit, it would have been GG. Just manages to trade 1-for-1 overall, but you have burnt the Galio ultimate. And I think that's a huge deal here, because now we're at this fight, although it looks like Tribe did not get the setup correctly and we're into a team fight.
Yeah, very early Dragon's Rage actually also coming out from Leon, very surprisingly so, though he's going for the full initiation. They got himself the Drake, but can you survive the fight that follows up? Apparently, that is going to be a no, as Team Kessler lose himself 3 Acolyte, Andrew and Memorize chucked right into the bin by Tribe themselves, and now they're going to turn it into another tower and even maybe a kill to Ibu. Doesn't have himself anything to really move away from this fight. The Featherstorm is just not going to come on through. Riz also just a little bit too deep in his engage, and he's also going to be an extra pickup. They get himself an unofficial ace into this fight, and they're also going to get himself a tower. This is Tribe once again off the back of one good fight, taking so many objectives.
Yeah, loads of key ultimates not available. And again, Doom just... Oh my god, that was a beautiful engage.
That was such a nice play coming out from the Memorize, though, going to get himself the CC with a quickness. Hectic ultimatum to follow up from Acolyte and get himself actually 2 kills into that one. But he's traded off back and forth. Doom and Leon never giving up on these fights and will be able to bring it back from the brink of death.
Yeah, but I would say that's advantage to Team Queso. I think a little overstay from Tribe. They clearly wanted to utilize that strong Dragon team fight that they got to go for that first tower of the game on the bottom side of the map, but they were not able to do so. And now Team Queso have been able to batter down 2 of these plates on the middle tier 1, which has allowed them to potentially come back to that later, maybe with the Rift Herald, and get a free tower in the middle side of the map. Sorry, Max, I got so hyped about that little setup from Clue, but actually when you look at it, HP bars weren't really good enough to go for this. And I think realistically, while I think it was an even trade overall, at the end of the day, Team Queso will be very happy recouping some of the gold and protecting that first tower from going down.
I find it very interesting you're talking about Clue, as I do believe Doom is going to take himself a fight towards the bottom side next to the Dragon Pit. He's going to get chased on down currently, as Snitch getting some decent poke on the likes of Memorize. They were going to be conversion in this position, but Clue, just a few months ago, he was the sub, surprisingly so, for Tribe, and he was the support sub for normally Friend. If Friend was not playing support, that was how things were going to go. Clue would be the one to jump in, and now he went from being a sub to being such a talented individual in the support position. I really like the rise to fame from Clue alone, and I think he's really just fully adapted to this full part role in the support position for the team. I'm loving it, but no! The Grand Entrance is going to be completely cancelled out by the Dragon's Rage of Leon, and the explosive cask is there. Not even necessary, because the damage of Leon was just too high for him to bear with. The re-engage, Hectic ultimatum locks Leon down, making it really hard for him to escape from that fight entirely. Team Queso will have to take the fight from their tower. They will not go any further, and now the Herald is up. That's instantly going to take the focus of Tribe.
Yeah, Tribe taking a couple of coin flip fights here, though. I mean, at the end of the day, that Snitch was not in position to kind of engage that fight, and this is a little awkward, because you can see Team Queso trying to get mid lane prio. They're trying to go for the mid lane tier 1 take as that Rift Herald's being focused down. Engage from True.
Yeah, Clue, big body slam once again onto Andrew's dead. Doesn't have himself the ultimate, currently on 50% cooldown. Grand Entrance, that's a kill going away of Memorize, though. You need to give those over to your ADC if possible, but there was not quite given the opportunity to do so. Double kill, actually. Okay, Memorize, might have to try and build some AP or AD damage output. You start to carry this game. 14 Queso, that will be great to see. Great knock-up. Riz able to just barely survive at the very end. And Team Queso actually putting on a way better fight compared to what we saw in game 1. They're Leon, maybe going for the re-engage. Great Dragon's Rage, gets himself the CC plus a kill. That's a double to Leon. Memorize Ibu, they don't want to try Leon out because he knows that they have a chance of losing it.
Yeah, Tribe just walking in 1 by 1 off the edge of that there. I think Leon playing very aggressively, has to be super careful. As you can see, Ibu super good at knowing when to use that blade cooler, get that root off. But Leon scrapes back some gold from a fight that went so badly wrong for Tribe. And again, they were running in 1 by 1 into that engage. Unfortunately, Snitch caught out very early on. I think they were obviously committing him a lot of resources to protect that mid lane tier 1 from going down. However, Doom, off the back of that fight, did just go drop the Rift Herald top, which has allowed them to pick up that first tower of the game on that top side of the map. So that's going to give a slight gold advantage to Tribe. It's not a huge gold advantage. It is very slight, but it's enough to potentially work with, as we've got some big item spikes picked up for this first fight. You can see Leon is at GA, Yomu's Ghostblade. He is a big threat to the backline. Looks like they're going to go for it, though.
Yeah, Valkyrie package, going to move on forward, trying to split away the rest of the team of Team Queso, but it doesn't matter because Snitch is just completely out of the fight, trying to get access to the backline, but it doesn't really help. Snitch, where are you? Because Tribe are struggling when you're not there, mate. Acolyte goes for it once more, connects the kill onto the likes of Doom. Friend, you have to be careful going back to the tower. Yeah, I think Snitch just a little bit too far from the rest of his team to actually back them up in that engage.
But I think you're also seeing some of the weaknesses of the Tribe comp right now. Like, this is not a team fighting comp, realistically. You don't have a lot of CC. You can't really contend with the layering of CC that Team Queso have got with the Rakan, with the Galio, the combo between the Galio and the Olaf, the combo between the Galio and the Camille. Like, take a look here. I get what Snitch is trying to do. He's trying to make it difficult for them to walk through the package, but they don't care. Look at the rest of Tribe around the Dragon Pit, taunted up, knocked up, charmed, and they just can't respond to the back of that team fight. And one of their major sources of damage, Snitch, is not able to re-enter the fight from the other side because he's being zoned away by the rest of Team Queso.
Yeah, Memorized too. You've got himself so many strong knockups with a Grand Entrance. Typically, he was an old Brawn player. I mean, no, an old Brawn player because he can still play it, even though he does get banned a lot of times in the Origin series. But yeah, he's able to really find himself super comfortably on this new champion that he plays quite a bit now, which is this Rakan. And he's been able to set up too, because you go for the Grand Entrance, followed up with a quickness, you're going to charm multiple targets. They were also well stacked up too on top of each other. And then you have, of course, Riz with a Hero's Entrance. He's going to get also that potential taunt on his ability. The combos, you talked about it, right? The fact that Tribe do not have a clear cut when it comes to a team fighting composition compared to Team Queso. Not only is the composition strong for those 5-on-5 engages, but they played it just so damn well. It's like a knife through butter. It worked out perfectly as planned. And now Tribe come into the next fight. They need to find a plan to deal with that, or otherwise Team Queso might start to build somewhat of a decent advantage.
The smaller skirmishes are definitely in favor of Tribe. You've got a lot of really strong skirmishing champions. Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, even the Kai'Sa on the smaller skirmishes works really well. Straight up 5v5s, you do not have any crowd control to speak of. You've got the Gragas barrel and you've got the Gragas body slam. Realistically, you're kind of lacking some hard CC. Obviously, we have the Xin Zhao ult and the Dragon's Raid kick as well, which can be useful in certain circumstances. But when you're looking at team-wide lockup, you know, I'm talking things like the big taunt from Ruiz. I'm talking about the knockup and the charm from Memorized. You even got the Hextech ultimatum, which kind of push people away and isolate a target from Acolyte. I don't think that you have the tools to go into a strict 5v5 versus this Team Queso composition. I think you have to utilize side lane pressure. You have to try and sort of play away from the strict 5v5 fights. Maybe look to try and scale up, because you do have some incredibly strong scaling carries in the form of the Corki and the Kai'Sa. However, the drawback is, I get why this Lee Sin was picked, but the drawback is that you have a Lee Sin. He's not exactly super strong in the side lane. He's not exactly like a Fiora who's just going to straight up win as this game progresses. So you have to be a little careful, I think, with your Leon in this situation, where you're not actually going to get that same level of side lane pressure as the game goes on.
Yeah, Snitch has to go back to base. Got to be careful. Leon does have GA, so he feels like he can be a little bit more adventurous in his kind of positions. But I agree overall, it is interesting. And we did see Leon try his best to get a little bit of a sneaky split push into the bottom side. Did they get one tower a little bit earlier in this game? There's an attempt that they know that these 5-on-5 are not going to go their way. But another split push comes out from Acolyte. Definitely a lot more enabled thanks to that one. Triple knockup from the Dragon's Rage of Leon. They don't want to take it any further for now, at least. The thing is, you're very clearly seeing there's a lot of fights happening in mid lane. Whichever team, and it seems like Team Queso might be the first team to do so, whichever team takes that first mid lane tower is going to create a significant map advantage in terms of where and when you decide to take those fights. You can also clear out a little bit of the enemy jungle if possible. So Team Queso is clearly their next objective that they're going to try and aim for.
I think one of the other problems that we've got as well is that the Dragon is just about to start spawning, which is obviously another big 5v5 objective that Tribe are grouping up around. There is a top lane wave that is pushing. It's slow pushing in favor of Tribe, but you can see that Acolyte has made his way up there to threaten that tier 1. But again, Tribe, the question is going to be asked, does Tribe want to team fight? And they don't really have a strong team fight team. We are going to see the Ocean Drake started up here, but this may just be a complete deja vu of that previous fight. And I do actually think Tribe have learned, because they are giving space over to Team Queso.
Comes up the slow on the sweep. Nicely done. Ebu going to get so much damage actually from the backline, and he's just so comfortable. Killer Instinct from Friend trying to make it through, but Ebu is just so well protected. They're all around him. Gets himself the blade. Calls some extra root damage onto Friend. Trying to go golden last second. Acolyte, you better get away from there. He's got the shield to back him up. Snitch trying his best to escape that entire situation, but you know he can't do so. This is too sticky of a place to be in, and now they get himself the pick. They get himself the fight, and now they're going to get himself the mid lane tower.
And this is now where you're starting to see some of the weaknesses of that potential champ pool on the top side of the map. This is not a strong team fight comp, and Tribe are being baited into team fighting. The Lee Sin pick definitely made sense in the context of a flex in draft, but in the context of what it plays towards in terms of Leon's strength, he's not found the 1v1s. He's not found the side lane pressure. But watch this, right? What are you doing as Tribe here? Like, how can you react to this? You don't have the tools. as soon as you see that engage coming through, you maybe have to just like instantly throw down the explosive barrel from Gragas. But at the end of the day, your comp does not have the peel required. It doesn't have the front line required to facilitate a front-to-back style team fight with the Kai'Sa and the Corki. And honestly, Queso are lavishing that. They are loving just going straight into these fights, knowing that they have the CC advantage. The 5v5s are in their favor, and Tribe, unfortunately, are not at the stage in the game where their carries are strong enough to instantaneously burst that front line.
Yeah, Mirage just keeps hitting the best quickness I've seen in a long while on this Rakan. He just disabled the entire front line. Doom can't do anything. Leon just can't move around the map too quickly. Acolyte is once again going to get those split pushes. He's given, it seemed like Tribe shoved their own medicine almost after that first game, and Leon just continuously split pushing around the map with that Fiora. The fact that they banned it away is definitely a good improvement and learning curve for them. So, big wave push once again with the Baron buff. Going to be really hard to clear away. Those goes for the Ragnarok. And trying to give himself some decent damage. That shield, by the way, is nutty. 50% of his health bar was just absolute shield. Clue, just way too deep in that one. Will regret that decision later on down the line. And that's going to be one extra kill, get himself the tower, and looking for the inhib tower to follow it up.
Yeah, he's only shield for magic damage, though. So there is still obviously like physical damage areas that you can move. But that's, again, what are you going to do there as friend? You get caught out. Doom's desperately going for the last-ditch play. Does finally get a kill. But at the end of the day, I think Team Queso are on the verge of taking this second one away. And honestly, I'm going to point back towards the draft. You ban the Fiora, you first pick the Camille. I think you're putting pressure on Leon's champion pool. I think you're putting pressure on Leon's playstyle as well. And you can see when you don't build the significant advantage with Leon on the top side of the map and you haven't drafted a strong team fight, Queso look a lot better.
Yeah, Leon, I don't know why he tried that one. Corgi about to close it off, of course, coming out for the Team Queso. Leon tried to take that little final skirmish there to try and keep them around because they were low. Maybe saw that as an opportunity, but they just saw that they killed him. Like, okay, well, we can very quickly turn it again. Now we can actually close off the game, and that's Team Queso pushing it to the game 3 in this series.
I think that was inconsequential what Leon was doing there. They'd lost the game at that point. I think at the end of the day, he could do whatever he wanted. He knew whatever he was doing was just a pure meme at that point because they'd lost the game. I think that is a clear example of how drafting against Tribe can get a bit muddy, especially when you've got a very carry-orientated top laner. The Fiora goes, the Camille gets picked. Those are Leon's 2 biggest split push threats taken off the board. He goes onto the Lee Sin, get the value of it, but the team fight comp, you could not deal with a 5v5 as Tribe. And unfortunately, Leon wasn't able to put as much sideline pressure out. He did not have the same kind of edge versus Acolyte this game. And that, I think, kind of undid what Tribe were trying to do this game. And when they came to 5v5s, they didn't have the peel. They didn't have the execution to stop the engage coming through and stop that layering of CC. And unfortunately, the carries were too exposed.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of things to say on this game. They're just unfolding here. But we know what? We still got a third game for this series between Team Queso and Tribe. So we'll head on over to a break before we break it all down with Trid back on the desk.
I'm feeling pretty big-brained because the very thing I tried to set up before the game actually happened. I love it when that happens, but it's not about me. It's about Team Queso equalizing the series, going 1 apiece, and that was one of the avenues for success for them. They ultimately targeted out Leon's champion pool. They made it quite difficult for him to play in the playstyle he wanted, and it made fights pretty much impossible for them throughout the game, didn't it, Scoundrel?
Yeah, it really did. There is, I think there's a fight that we've got on the drawing board. I don't know if it's ready to go, but there is a fight that we've got around the dragon fight, which kind of it perfectly illustrates what you were just highlighting here. This is okay. The Infernal Drake, really important. It's the second Drake of the game. It's an incredibly important Drake that you often see a lot of teams fight for. The idea for Tribe is that you make Olaf completely useless, right? You try and make it so that he cannot run at your team. The problem was they didn't set up for it. So they just decided to commit to the Drake. They gave way too much space to Olaf over here. He was able to make this full walk round the pit, taking almost 0 damage. So once Olaf was able to Ragnarok in here, he sets up for Memorized, and he also sets up for the Galio. So we're going to watch it in just a moment. Right. They commit very heavily to the Drake. Watch Ragnarok. He walks all the way round. Like, he just walks all the way round for free. No one does anything. And he just takes no damage. I actually think this was a good package from
Snitch.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But then he Valkyries away.
That's the
he
one.
Packages then Valkyries away towards the mid lane. I think if he just packaged and looked, I get it because Acolyte's here, right? But if you're distracting Acolyte and if you're distracting eBay by staying in this vicinity, you might be able to force a 4 versus 3 around the dragon and end up winning. But at the end of the day, I think it was a good placed package because you can see it zoned out Ebu completely over on this side. But Olaf was able to walk in for free. You get the Galio Grand Entrance, which knocks up these two here. Friend is just doing his best. Ruiz is over on this side as well. Like, they set up so perfectly for their CC in the middle of the fight, and you can see Ruiz lands a huge taunt onto 3. These 3 people just instantly taunted up, and then you saw, unfortunately, that CC chain from Team Queso was too difficult for Tribe to deal with. And at the end of the day, even though the team fight wasn't a massive victory, it wasn't a clean ace, it was a team fight win for Queso when they were behind and they secured the all-important Infernal Drake.
That damage obviously going to give them a huge boom for the rest of the match, gives them a definitive lead, and enables them to tie up the series. So let's put a bookend on game 2, look towards game number 3. Right, we're going the distance. A spot in the grand final on the line right here. A guaranteed position where you don't have to fight through the lower bracket or any of the other teams down there as well. Pretty sure both teams want to avoid that. It typically is for the best. So we know that a way in which we can target Tribe Gaming is to hit the champion pool. Let's spin it around though, Max. How can Tribe defend against that and get an ideal thing in pick and ban?
Or Tribe, we're going to go towards... I mean, to be honest, they should be switching back sides, so they're going to be onto the blue, back against it. That means that first pickup is going to be coming their way. By default, that can help because they typically are a team that when they get one strong pick, they build a composition around it really strongly. We saw the Fiora back in the first game. We saw this time around too, but that was a time on the side of Team Queso. I think that the bans are still going to cause them a few issues. I do understand the play that Lee Sin, they tried to do around the Lee Sin for Leon. I would like to maybe go towards a team that has more team fight potential because that's something that Team Queso, and this is one thing I love about them, they're so good at learning over time and evolving every single match that they play and are involved in. Now, Team Queso, they know what to do versus Tribe. If they split push, they know what to do with Tribe if they don't have a good team fight composition, and it worked out great in the second game. So if I were them now, I would be very careful that you do not give another opportunity to Team Queso to retaliate and go for a composition that's really good in team fighting for Tribe to try and push it into 2-1 in their favor.
Right then, well, it sounds like you've got the read on this one, lads. I'm going to leave you to it. Game number 3, winner takes it all and gets the spot in the grand final.
Tread spot in the grand finals. What a spot to take indeed. Let's see if they can potentially make it work out. But here you go, X-Scoundrel back in the draft for the final time for the series, and we got a lot of expectations set for this match.
I'm smiling because we get given the bans ahead of time, and I know what Queso have banned. I know what Queso have banned, and it's making me smile because it's like we talked about it in the last game. It's anti-Leon. Right? They banned Fiora first pick Camille on the previous game. What do you think they're going to do this game? They're on red. They can't first pick. Yeah, they're going to ban Camille and they're going to ban Fiora. Okay? So, like, I think this is clear what their game plan is. It's clear because it's also what we were believing from that previous game as well. They seem to be resonating on that same level. Get rid of Leon's 2 best split pushing champions, and then you put him in an awkward scenario because Leon doesn't play frontline. He doesn't play tanks, and that is, as much as you may want to say it's not, a weakness of a Baron laner in the current meta. If you don't play frontline well, if you don't play tanks well, you are limiting the style of compositions that you can play as a team, and that is one of the things I think. The ban phase right now is clearly, I think, cutting some of Tribe's power away, but they do get the Ziggs first pick, a very strong competitive pick in the meta, something that Snitch is very cold and calculated with, and that may allow them to have an edge versus Queso coming through.
Yeah, you just can't go wrong with overall this pick of Ziggs. Reason why, because it plays with basically anything, so you can still build something very strong around it. Seraphine going to be the first pick up for Team Queso. It can be played in mid, technically, but you typically like to see in the support position, so that's why I'm expecting it to get actually played by them, and Memorize can give it a fair shot from time to time, though Gragas being taken away. Gragas, actually, I would say here, X-Scoundrel being very clearly one of the best tank champions that Leon typically plays in the Baron lane, if that's something he's going to go towards, but Darius is still up, and that is a champion that I even saw him play sometimes in a jungle position, so you might give that one a shot. Or Wukong, we saw it did get buffed up on the Golden Staff, where you get extra healing. I think is now 80% on minions in the laning phase. so you can get that done. Maybe that's going to be the attempt, but it's a flex champion to try and hide away from Team Kesso what the true strategy actually is to back it up.
Yeah, and they're going for a Lulu Wukong combo as well, which is really nice. I think you've probably seen that before, like the Wukong ult, and then you just use the Lulu ult on top of it as well. So you have like a double knock-up into a triple knock-up with the second activation of the Cyclones. So, you know, I think that's nice. I think most people believe that Wukong's still better in the jungle. Even with the buffs to his laning phase, I think most people believe that Wukong is better in the jungle. So I'm assuming this is going to be Doom in the jungle. No surprises. No points for anyone that guesses the Team Queso bot lane, by the way. I will give you nil points for going for the Xayah Rakan, because that has been their go-to pretty much every single game, and it will continue to be so. But the Seraphine Gragas, that does make me feel like Gragas will be a top lane tank Gragas into Leon. We're going to see a Jinx coming through. Jinx Lulu into Xayah Rakan. This does give a very late game weighted edge here through the tribe roster. I'm interested to see what their final pickup might be, though. Lee Sin. Okay. I mean, that is flexible. Doom can play Lee Sin. I haven't seen Leon play a huge amount of Wukong Baron lane, but that may be the case that we see a bit of flexibility between the two of them. But if it's Lee Sin top lane into Gragas, like Gragas is considered a counter into Lee Sin. Gragas is considered a counter into Lee Sin because you can body slam the Sonic Wave, and it is a Olaf picked up at the end here for Team Queso.
Yeah, so it's going to be then Lee Sin onto the Baron lane, and jungle Wukong going to be starting to the red side. So interesting run of events for them. We'll see how things are going to run out. But here we go, ladies and gents, our third and final game of this series between both Tribe and Team Queso. Don't have the overlay up there, but that's fine. I can tell you, take my word for it. It's 1-1 so far in the series. As we'll see, this is, as Trid said on the desk, the spot for the grand finals for Group A. And to set the scene a little bit, I find this very interesting, Xcandal. Just a month ago, 2 months ago, we had this team that was called Na'Vi, Natus Vincere, a big org in the scene with the old team that was just dominating. And I would say at the time, they were the best team in Europe at that moment. And now the team has changed, completely disbanded, and now it's a completely different Na'Vi team. And we have now that throne at the very top of the European region. And we need a king on that throne. And I think these two teams of Team Queso and Tribe could definitely fill in that spot that Na'Vi has left open and left vacant. I still want to see a little bit more from these guys, but we are looking with this Origin Series to see which is the new best team in Europe, and Tribe and Team Queso are definitely looking like two of the favorites to take that spot.
Yeah, Tribe actually lost in that final to Na'Vi, so Tribe were the second. Actually, Queso in that particular tournament that you're talking about had an awful time of it, actually. They went out very early on in that particular phase. Memorize taking a ridiculous amount of damage, but does trade back with Aibo able to land a Blade Caller nicely onto the Jinx. Going to be an interesting game. Going to be a really interesting game. You have a very strong team fight again from Team Queso. They do draft towards this 5v5 potential, although Doom has head down towards this bot lane. A lot of damage onto Aibu.
Yeah, nice knock up there. Memorize will be able to assist the likes of EB to move away. No first blood this time. Very surprising for these two teams taking it head to head. Normally you'll see a first blood in less than 2 minutes, but it seemed like a little bit of a slower time this time around. But yeah, Doom on the Wukong, I mean, he's really good at creating those initiations for his team, and the Wukong does exactly that. You jump on forward, you regen with a golden staff, you get the Cyclone knock-up CC twice, by the way. Looking definitely a lot better of a team composition than what we saw in the first game, so I'm already a little bit more down the line of Tribe having a fair shot at taking those 5-on-5, but when you look at the team fight potential on the other side, I'm still a big fan of, you know, the Gragas, the also Encore coming out from Riz on the Seraphine that then played in mid position, and the CC of Memorize. I still think that when you're looking at a 5-on-5 setup, Team Queso take it by a pretty significant margin.
I think the 5v5 from Team Queso is better overall. I think Wukong remedies a lot of the problems that Tribe were having with their kind of comps, but I still think that if you get into a 5v5 brawl when everybody is of equal HP with all their cooldowns up, it is a Team Queso win almost all the time in that scenario. Now, I've said with all of their HP up because there is clearly a Ziggs that you have to deal with, and Ziggs has got excellent poke and can definitely win a team fight before it even begins. But we have to kind of get to the stage where Ziggs is threatening enough for that to be the case. But yes, I agree. If you go into a full-on fist fight for the first dragon or whatever, you go into like just when everybody has their ultimates up and ready to go, Team Queso win that almost all the time. But with the Ziggs, you can do a lot of work before these team fights even begin. You can look to isolate people with the Lee Sin. And you also have the backup, a strong team fight tool of Jinx Lulu, which is a very, very good combo to work with when you're in these early fights. So it's not completely out of it for Tribe. I don't think Tribe's team fight is bad, but I do think Team Queso's does trump it ever so slightly.
Yeah, I do want to say be careful. Doom has not gone for the reset, and you had already a very early reset that happened about 15-20 seconds ago for Andrew Z, so he's got himself a little bit of an advantage when it comes down to pure items. You already got yourself the Luden's Echo purchase for Snitch on the Ziggs, and already got yourself the Yumus for the likes of Lee Sin played by Leon. So already some big item spikes being hit for them. Sunfire Aegis already coming on through for Acolyte. So already got 2 tier 3 items being purchased for both teams. So it should be a very interesting run of events, but it seems like none of them is ready for the fight for the time being. They're not going to go and be too adventurous because there's no big lead that's been created right now, unlike the 2 last series where you had those very, very early kills come through. So yeah, a lot of respect coming out in this last series, and they know this is a golden ticket to the grand final spot. So you want to make sure you put everything you can in this game and not take too many risks, which is why you're not seeing these big early kills, or at least early kill attempts coming out from both Team Kesso and Tribe, because they know that this has some really big risk and repercussions if you lose this game.
I mean, Doom doesn't really have a jungler that can have that same kind of impact this time round. He is also, isolated a little bit in this river right now. You can see that Queso are poised. Massive level advantage for Andre. I don't know if you've clocked it, but Andre is actually almost level 8 heading into this potential dragon fight. Doom is a little further behind. I think it's because he hasn't cleared his topside jungle, so he still has his blue buff up and available. And Andre now will be starting up this dragon. Lee is, you can see Leon is making his way down. Nice bomb. I mean, that's a good start.
Yeah, going to put them a little bit further down. Also, True Death Rock is going to get a lot of that damage added up. The dragon did get secured away actually by the side of Team Kesso, but now unfortunately they can't escape from this fight. True, get the damage buff, but nothing's going to be following up on that one. Andrew Stead's going to be burning on down thanks to the ignited damage, and that's going to be almost the ace. I mean, Andrew Stead trying to play a little bit hide and seek in that position. You got to be careful, move away from that fight entirely, Acolyte, as Leon, he's just thirsty for blood right now. Doesn't have the ultimate anymore in that fight. Tries to zap him down and move away from that tower. They're not going to get the ace. The players are currently respawning, and I think they paid attention to that, so they moved the focus from Acolyte over to the tower.
Yeah, it's going... Oh, you can see Acolyte tried to clear the wave out, but it is the first tower of the game. And, okay, I'm going to loop back to a couple of things that we said just in anticipation of this fight. Lovely play, by the way, from Team Queso to go for this mid lane tier 1 because they've got Prio in the mid lane, and obviously all of Tribe have had to back here. I don't know if Tribe get back in time to stop this mid lane tier 1 dropping. That is a beautiful response from Team Queso. It's the best response that you could physically ask for from this team, and getting that mid lane tier 1 is big. But if we were to look back at that team fight, obviously there is potentially a fight going on, or as you can see in the lower screen right now, look at their HP bars. We talked about it. If they are full HP, which they are not, and Doom finds the big engage, they whiff the Seraphine ultimate, Leon joins the fight way before Andre and forces a 4v5. The work done before the team fight opened up was important there, but I can see there's another team fight taking place around the Rift Herald in that lower screen, so we'll have to jump back to it right now.
Oh, well, Tribe, we arrive a little bit late, but that doesn't matter because they still win it. Take down Acolyte, take down Andrew Zed. Nice bouncing ball coming out from Snitch. And you said it right, despite him not being really there for those big on 5-on-5s, he can set up the rest of his team so amazingly well by getting the damage of the bouncing bomb, also the minefield, and especially that Mega Inferno bomb that was the reason why I would say that they very clearly won that fight versus Team Kesso by a landslide, and now they're trying to add a little bit more cross-mapping, get more towers to try and reduce the goal lead that was trying to be built by Team Kesso, but it's clearly not there yet.
No, I think also one of the major things that led to Tribe getting that victory was that Acolyte was way too slow. Like, Leon was just a massive step ahead of Acolyte in the rotation down to that team fight. And by the time that he joined, he was able to instantly blow up Memorized in the back line. Just that rotation, that heads up from Leon, much more a sort of head in the game style of play from him that allowed him to have a huge influence in turning that team fight around. Well, wasn't even turning around. I think Tribe were on the end, but it was a really like a win more addition to the team fight there for Leon. And honestly, really well executed. Doom found a beautiful engage once that Seraphine ultimate had gone wide, and a very impressive stuff from Tribe, who now sit at 6-0 in kill score. So haven't even given up a death to Team Queso right now.
Yeah, just for Brand West getting purchased by Acolyte also to try and make sure he can reduce a little bit of the healing from the likes of Doom. But I'm especially intrigued after this series, no matter who takes the win, if it's Tribe or Team Kesso, we're going to have an interview. I want some personal insight on how the series is coming out. Leon looking for the engaged body slam away for Acolyte. Pretty good mobility, should be fine. But yeah, Acolyte, typically, this is a Gragas into a Lee Sin, which is typically a really good counter pick. You mentioned it early in the draft, and seemed like he is getting pushed back a little bit heavily by Leon just now. But big focus in mid, Tribe there's the 3-man crew, as the next Drake is going to be Infernal, so then we can truly expect a proper 5-on-5 to happen.
Yeah, of course, we want to be looking for where Doom chooses to set up the Rift Herald, as it will be looking to create some natural priority in a lane around either away or around the Infernal Drake. You could drop it bot and maybe go for a tier 2 play. You could drop it mid for some instant priority around. We have an engage, though. Again, Memorized going way too deep here.
Yeah, that's a Dragon's range, actually, from Leon. I thought it was not going to be worth it, but you know what? Seemed like they got himself an Ignite and got himself the kill last second. Trying to get himself the tower to add on top of it. I mean, the Dragon's not hit just yet, so I will say, hell yeah, you do you, my friend. That's completely okay for you guys to do. Yeah, as you said, an overstep very clearly coming up for Memorized after an amazing game 2 of this series. A little bit surprised, but it seemed like the wave is not there. The clear's a little bit too fast, especially thanks to the Seraphim, so the turret is not threatened just yet. But now the Herald is here. Now that's the true threat coming on board, as not only do they get priority in mid, they're going to create priority into the jungle side to get potentially that Infernal Drake. But no, that's going to be actually Doom looking for the initiation potential here. Gets the first set of knockups with the ultimate and instantly into the Encore. A single target Encore, very surprising coming out from Riz. Now the team has to backtrack. They're taking too much damage, especially you see in the side of Tribe and Snitch doing way too much damage to keep them away. And that's almost 2 plates coming their way and forcing Team Kesto back to base for a few of them.
I mean, Snitch is going to constantly push that in because it is within that execute range. It was getting towards that execute range. As, oh my word, Leon again looks to find Andre, who has to, for Memorized, who has to back out of that fight almost instantaneously. But you can see Andre has made his way over. How long until Snitch has that Mega Inferno Bomb up and available again? Obviously, Doom not yet on the map. They're trying to use that advantage of having no jungler to go for this Infernal Drake, and Tribe look a little desperate here, but they are doing enough to force Team Queso away.
Yeah, a little bit standard up. Team Kesto got to be careful. They're going to build a focus on one player so far. Body slam into the quickness. Friend will be able to move away, but he's got no mana. You've got to be careful. Can't peel away with those nades if possible. The Seraphim is still continuously keeping them away, but the ultimate's got such a big cooldown. You don't have the Encore. You don't have that extra charm to get that big team CC. Once again, Memorized, losing his life along the way. The Dragon's still up. Nice Mega Death Rocket onto Ruiz. Will not get taken down by that one just yet, but these fights are a lot closer, and it shows how important these fights are, but Tribe just clearly coming up ahead.
I don't know, though, because Doom has been making a couple of awkward plays in these team fights. Yeah. Honestly, like, he's been going in, looking for the executes on the fight. Oh, my God, Leon again. Just when you need this guy to smurf. Just when you need this guy to smurf. He bloody smurfs. What an absolute beast he has been this game for Tribe. I mean, he had a relatively good game in the least in last time round, but again, finding a crucial pick just before a game-changing team fight, although that is a little bit too far.
I like the explosive cast there, able to split away. Leon, he knows he's just a little bit too far in no man's land, and he will cause himself to go and get picked up by Team Kesto. Infernal Drake still up, but no one's able to go for the Infernal Drake for the longest time. This might be a game where we just have, 3 or even potentially 2 Drakes at the end. We'll get to Infernal pretty quickly. Sorry, to the Elder form, should I say.
Ibu literally bought Teleport to come and join the fight, but look how low they are.
Doom, you don't have your team. What are you doing, mate? You got to get away. Wild Growth to try and potentially back him up a little bit more. Goes for the re-engage CC onto Risk. Gets nothing. What's going on? What's happening here? This is so weird for a final game for spot in the grand finals, by the way. And this is happening. What?
They're trying to buy time, okay? Snitch has just gone back to base. Leon's coming back in. They are again looking for the engage. Memorized for the knock-up.
No, he doesn't get picked away. He's taking a little bit more damage, but will not burn to his death. So, especially Leon, he's ready to jump on over, and he loves to go for these fights when they're all so low. Gets himself the Proto Belt forward to get some extra bit of damage added on top of it and close the gap. That's it. He got rid of the jungler. There you go, got no more smite, and Leon, he's ready to potentially snatch it away, but they all moved up so far, and there's no steal opportunity for him, and it will be secured and going in favor, I believe, there of Team Kesto. And actually, yes, it will be Ruiz getting it last second. Doesn't have the ultimate back up, but the Mega Inferno Bomb doesn't matter if you have the ult or not. If you're dead, and you go straight back and get condemned back to the fountain.
What? An absolute fiesta. The last 5 minutes of this game has been, Max. What have I been watching? It's just been like a conveyor belt of players into the Infernal Drake, and whoever comes out on top. A little bit unlucky there for Tribe. Leon did have the Sonic Wave. I think he could have committed and executed the Infernal Drake there, but it would have been close. Either way, Tribe edge it out slightly because they have taken that mid lane tier 1. But what on earth was that just constant? I mean, that was a team fight that lasted maybe 5 minutes because people were going in and in and in again. Let's take a look. This was the fight. Okay. Leon's dead for 20 seconds at this point in time. Doom finds a nice engage. He's trying to push them out of the Dragon Pit. All Doom's trying to do here is stop them taking Infernal. He doesn't really care about the fight. Leon comes in here, doesn't actually find the best kick in the world because Andre somehow gets away with it, but he does take out the jungler. But Doom is on about 2 HP and dies instantaneously as a double kill. Really good play from Acolyte there. And at the end, Leon comes through the side lane, doesn't quite find the execute on it, but they do pick up mid lane tier 1, which is going to give them a bit more control over this area of the map. Interestingly enough, that fight took so long that the 3rd dragon of the game is going to be the Elder, not the 4th, because that fight took so long. The mechanics involved. Wait a second.
Oh, there you go. Wait a second. The quickness wants to get into also some nice damage. Ruiz did get himself some good CC onto the Encore. It's re-engage time. And Doom is so damn beefy. Look at that freaking health bar. It's just way too big. And those chink it down pretty heavily. Still, while the GA have to move away. Weather the storm. That is the time for Tribe in that fight to move and exclude himself from that fight because they're way too low. But no, memorized. What is going on? You can't afford to go that far. You know they got too much damage. Tribe sure don't get too much, but that's 1 kill. They're going to go back to base to get some extra items. Whew. This is a game and a half.
Friend is playing this game so safe, by the way. Like every fight, Friend, I swear, he's like so scared to step up to the team fights. He's almost full HP. I mean, a Ziggs is face tanking more of these fights than Friend is with the support of his Lulu right now. Goodness gracious, what is going on here? Great punish on the knock up here. Doom's ultimate might have looked a bit funny, but it was zoning away the Seraphine and the Xayah at the start of this fight, and he's super tanky with the stone plate enchant, so it bought a lot of time. Nice flash away to ensure that the Blade Caller doesn't kill him. But Memorized, what are you even looking for there, Memorized? Ends up dying at the end of that team fight, and it's another single pick. But I want to reiterate, it was a single kill as a result of that team fight. Nothing else actually went in favor of either team. Just a single kill picked up for Tribe.
Yeah, got to be careful. Memorize also on this Rakan, one of the squishiest support champions in melee form, at least in the game currently. So you will get taken down really quickly by Tribe if you do that again. So hopefully he's going to learn from that prospect and get himself a little bit better. But objective for these two teams currently is curate and create. You want to create yourself a lead after 1 good fight. And because you've got so many big objectives and you're so far ahead in the game, I'm mainly thinking at Tribe right here, Scoundrel. If Tribe win a big fight, having that Ziggs on your side, you're going to clear towers like it's absolute nothing. And you should very easily and quickly get access to those inhib towers. And the inhib towers most of the time is what tips the advantage in your favor a lot of the time. So Tribe, if they win the next fight, they could literally find almost closer to the game after 1 significant engage. So it's that close, and you can see the Team Kesso by their body language, how they're playing around the map. They feel the pressure, they feel the heat, and they want to be very cautious. And when they take a fight, they want it to be the best fight opportunity they had in this game so far.
I do want to point out that there is a key item that I think is still missing for Friend right now, and that's the Runan's Hurricane. I really think Friend needs to get that item for the next team fight. Otherwise, he's kind of limiting that power of Jinx, despite actually having more gold than Ibu on this Xayah, who has got 3 completed items. Just want to see, that would have been a nice item to have in his back pocket in the wind up to this Elder. Look at the zoning coming out, though. There is a lot of zoning. I mean, this is how you deal with an Olaf. It's big.
Yeah, Doom, be careful there, a little bit too fast. We've got the GA. Doom goes once again for the backline. The knockup's not big. He's going to get himself memorized. Seems like that will be happening, though. The Blade Caller not going to be connecting on anything of value just now. Team Kesso, a lot of players extremely low. Lose himself now, 3 players. Andrew said also will be the next one to follow up. Acolyte, the last player currently standing, trying to move away from that fight. Re-engage with the body slam to try and get as much as possible. But that's the ace, and Tribe surviving as a 4-man team. And with that Ziggs, they should get the inhib tower.
They should they might even get the game. I'm not going to call it just yet, but they might even get the game at this point in time because you have a Jinx and you have a Ziggs. Like, this is a straight push. They're looking for the end right now, Max.
Oh, yeah, they got himself the Sacral Charge. That's going to be the passive of Snitch working and paying dividends in this game. And that's going to be set, game, and match as Tribe takes himself game 1 and also game 3, secure himself the series and secure their golden ticket to move into the grand finals of the Origin Series for Group A. What a series, Scoundrel. Clearly the best game I've seen in a long while between these two teams of Kesso and Tribe. But you have to have a champion. That's how it goes. And Tribe was just the better team in this series. Yeah,
just that crazy Infernal fight. Like, that was nutty from both sides, realistically. But I do believe the Wukong was the nice little addition that kind of made that Lee Sin feel a little more viable. Just the CC that the Cyclone provides is enough to facilitate the movement of Leon around these team fights, and it provides enough space for that Jinx Lulu to really pop off as well. It was a beautiful play, and right at the end there as well, massive credit to Doom. he's so tanky on the Wukong, had that stone plate enchant, was able to single-handedly separate and zone that team fight out to allow his team the space. And finally, when the item spikes were there, Friend steps up with the Jinx and does what Jinx does at that 3-item spike, almost 3-item spike, but does what that Jinx is supposed to do and really pops off.
Yeah, the dive forward, the wild growth paired up into the Cyclone onto Doom was just amazing. The knockout, it was just bouncy Castle City on this one, and it really paid dividends for the entirety of Tribe. But you know what? My forehead is shiny because I'm sweating because that game was too good, okay? We need to have a little bit of a breather here. We're going to head on over to a break, and after that, we'll be back with Trid, and I believe maybe an interview with one of the players of Tribe, so we'll be back after this break.
Well, there you have it. Grand final secured for Tribe Gaming. They had to go the distance, though, and it was looking pretty shaky at times there in game number 3. Looking back at the draft, the game plan was exactly the same as last time. Target out Leon, but this game, it didn't seem to matter so much because Leon was coming in clutch with a couple of these plays, Max.
Yeah, it worked out really good. I think that the main thing that Leon clearly had the opportunity of doing with the Lee Sin, and that's what Lee Sin does best, is you punish someone overstepping. Most of the time, unfortunately, and I said so many good things I've memorized, it would just go too far, a little bit too adventurous, and check out positions where he should not be in the first place. And Leon just, well, I'm sorry, mate, but Omae wa Mushinderu goes for the backline and he goes for the Dragon's Rage. Nothing you can do. So yeah, just those small little mistakes are clearly enough in matchups of this skill level to build a lead and get an advantage. And this time around, Leon was the one to initiate some of those fights and create a man advantage in the skirmishes.
I just want to say really quick, like Leon actually had an insane Lee Sin game, and apparently, I didn't even know this, he hit a 5-man Dragon Rage kick at the Elder Dragon. I just want to put that out there. Apparently, there was a 5-man Dragon's Rage kick we didn't catch on camera. But apparently,
we didn't catch on camera.
That must have been the culmination of his play that game, because I think he had an insane Lee Sin game. Frankly, really popped off.
All right, then. Well, we're going to speak to one of his teammates. I'll see you lads in a second, because I've got Stitch on the line for an interview. Snitch, hello.
Hello.
I bet you're feeling good after that, right? Grand final secured. First monthly final. Sends a bit of a message for Tribe, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely, I don't know what's happened to my voice. I guess I was yelling too much. We're definitely super happy with how we performed. Speaking of yelling, you know, this may be a surprise to the general community, but I've never heard Leon as loud as I just heard him in the last 5 minutes. So yeah, the attitude's definitely great. We're super happy that we managed to win the series.
Well, comms is a good place where I'd like to start, actually, because I'm not going to lie to you, the Infernal Drake fight or the sequence of events around that was a bit fiesta. I want to know what the comms were like trying to orchestrate keeping Queso away from that Infernal Drake for the longest period of time.
I don't know, I think we're actually surprisingly calm, but yeah, I guess at some point I looked at the clock and I realized like 5 minutes had passed, but it felt like it was probably like 100 years. So, I mean, it was probably the longest dragon fight in the history of mankind. Yeah, I think actually we were surprisingly calm about it. It was like, okay, I've got to reset. I'm out of mana, you know. Then Friend is like, okay, I've got to reset. I'm low on HP. And we kept like cycling who could actually fight. And it was always like, just space them out, play around Ziggs, get a reset for Jinx. You know, I think we were actually quite controlled about it, but they just kept coming back, man. It's like solo queue. It's like we keep killing them, but they just suddenly there's 3 more of them back again. And I guess they were feeling the same way about us. But yeah, I guess eventually, you know, we managed to edge them out with enough poke and get a reset going.
One of the players, and we were talking a lot about actually, because the draft was kind of tailored around Leon, I feel. He's getting targeted out in game 2 and game 3. How easy was it for you guys to kind of react to that? Do you have the strats in place if Leon gets targeted like that? Because game 2 didn't really work out for you. We felt like in the draft, but game 3, you were able to come out and win. So I just want to know, you've got the support system in place there if Leon gets targeted like that, right? Because your teams are probably going to do that again.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, we used to have a lot more issues, I guess, when Leon hadn't expanded his champion pool quite as much. He commonly has a thing where he says he needs like 50 games on a champ to be able to play it. So we had to wait for him to get like 50 games on Lee Sin, and then suddenly we could draft again. Basically, I don't know, Leon tries to add a new champion to his pool every month so we can stay ahead of the enemy teams in draft, because he is often targeted, and I mean, it's very warranted. I mean, you saw what he did in game 1. Yeah. I mean, even in game 2, he was having a great game. I think we just like had some misplays in the early game that gave him a bit too much gold. Like, honestly, I think our draft was pretty fine in that game, but we just ended up like giving them a lot of gold, and they kind of ended up outscaling us. But even still, he still had like a great game, great scoreline. Like, he's always star player, always performing well, like regardless of matchup, regardless of game state, he's always bringing something, even in like just communication. You know, I was talking about him screaming, but you know, he's always calling the next thing to do, talking about where we should plan, you know, the next setup. Like, yeah, he's a great asset, and yeah, I think that's why teams like to focus him so much in the draft phase.
All right, well, you're in the grand finals already. There's still, I think, games going on in the lower brackets. We're not even sure like who's going to be joining you there. Are you aware of the 4 teams in the lower bracket, or do you need a reminder right now?
I'll take a reminder, yeah.
Okay, so you got 7 free agents, Crane Real Betis, Team Future, and Game Lord. Now, out of those 4 teams, if you had to guess right now, who would you say is joining you in the grand finals? Oh, also Team Queso as well, you have to think about.
I mean, I've heard of that Game Lord team. I thought they were really good, but for some reason they dropped from the upper brackets. So maybe I was mistaken.
Who knows why? A mystery.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought Random was the GOAT, but I don't know. Genuinely, Game Lord are an excellent team, and I think even though they have fallen, I think they are probably the toughest match that we'll face. I guess we were kind of hoping that Queso might beat them again for us, because they always bring a really. I mean, Queso was a really hard match today. Don't get me wrong, but Game Lord is always just always pushing us to our limits and testing us in draft, and they're so creative with their compositions that it's always a bit of a toss up, depending on what they choose to pick and what we have to deal with. And I think they're a really scary team to face, especially because they do have Random, easily the best Baron in Europe. Even Leon would admit it. I think that he thinks Random's a better player, so we're always super scared of him. But so yeah, I would imagine Game Lord is probably the favorite, but Queso have looked great. I think even Future brought some really interesting ideas. I don't know much about 7 free agents, but I know some of their players, so I really think it could be anybody, but I think I'm expecting it to be Game Lord.
All right, Snitch, thank you so much. You get a day off tomorrow, so you get to watch the games instead, and then we'll see you again for the grand final on Thursday.
Great. Can't wait.
All right, thank you very much. Let's bring Maxman and Scoundrel back into the room. Right then, lads. Nice little talk with Snitch.
Yeah, it's great. I'm great to hear from Snitch, and I think I want to just say that I think Random probably. I don't think it's unwarranted to say that Random's the best Baron laner in Europe, but maybe not for the mechanical side of things. I think Random has more breadth. He can play more champions. He has more play styles than Leon. As I love that little. Leon doesn't want to add a champion until he's played 50 games of it in solo queue. That is the most Leon thing I've ever heard in my life. But yeah, it's great to hear from Snitch, and the boys are clearly in a good mood. They're in that grand final, and I would not be surprised to see Game Lord kind of fight back against Queso and potentially find their way into that grand final, but lots of work still to do.
All right, well, that is the Group A upper bracket final. We've had Group C as well. That leaves us with only Group B. So let's get into our final match of the night.